Well, I'm going to give you a little bit more detail about how Trump beat down Colombia when it pulled that stunt about refusing, banning military flights from the US, taking back its illegal immigrants. This gets even more badass. Trump was actually out golfing yesterday when Colombia did that and had a quick meeting in the clubhouse with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. So this is really Trump's Gulf War. This is a man who fixes crises between rounds of golf. Just see too, when Trump posted his threat to punish Colombia with tariffs, 1:28 p.m. local time. Colombia's president gave in just 6 minutes later, 1:34, offered to send his own plane to bring back the Colombian illegal immigrants, later gave in even more. Although I've got to say, could Colombia's president really have, read Trump's threat and typed his long response in just 6 minutes? I suspect it might have been forewarned. Might be some theatre going on here. Anyway, joining me is writer, broadcaster, columnist, whatever, Esther Krakue, superstar from London. Esther, great to see you again. Trump later actually posted an AI-generated picture of himself as some tough guy with the slogan FAFO, which stands for, as you know, F around and find out. What do you make of this style?
This is the start of a Trump presidency that is going to make the world sit up and listen. And I can tell you that he's going to cause a lot of headaches, not just for people like the Colombian president, but anyone who dares to not kiss the ring and fall in line. Now, the Colombian president's excuse for turning away these military planes that he'd actually initially agreed to let enter into Colombian airspace was that he wanted to treat Colombian migrants with dignity, and having them sort of chained in a US military plane was undignified, until he realized that President Trump was actually quite serious and was really quite willing to slap Colombia with tariffs. And so he decided to turn this PR spin into saying that actually, I'll send over the presidential plane and pick them up because we need to welcome back our immigrants with dignity. Yeah, okay, sure, that's the excuse. But look, it just shows that President Trump is not kidding around. And actually, a recent poll conducted here in the UK shows that many Brits agree with him on this stance and would wish that our prime minister would do something similar, although I can tell you that's highly unlikely.
Well, with 1 million illegal immigrants in your country, I mean, yes, why wouldn't the British Prime Minister learn a little here? Esther, to the new identity politics, I mean, you've commented on this stuff brilliantly for ages now, and the new victim politics. Two of the world's most famous universities, Oxford and Cambridge, both in Britain, have said they're going to move away from traditional exams to get more students from minority groups, blacks, immigrants, Muslims, whatever. They want to consider open book tests and take-home papers, which is great if you want to cheat. So people from those groups don't fail as much as, I guess, white students. I don't know. Your response to what seems to me an insulting woke paternalism?
Well, this is the thing. People don't realize that bigotry of low expectations is still bigotry and still, in my view, a form of racism. What they're really trying to say here, but not realizing because they're sort of shrouded in sort of this savior complex, is that, non-white students are thick and they really can't pass exams. So let's dumb it down to make it look like we're being more inclusive, which actually helps no one and only tarnishes the reputation of Oxford and Cambridge, which is still one of the leading universities, still two of the leading universities in the world. This is not going to help anyone. Letting students take home open like book tests, exams, and being able to take their exam papers home. It's completely ludicrous. But this is the idea that they have because for some reason they can't think of the students' abilities being the problem. No, it has to be the exam papers being racist.
But it's so weird. Where did this instinct come from that, the racist assumption, well, if they fail, it's because we're racist in some way, or they're more likely to fail because, I don't know, they're stupid or something. I mean, where does this come from?
Well, it's the uncomfortable reality of looking at the fact that life is not fair and that different people have different abilities. In other parts of the world, in Korea, for example, if you had a certain group of students not doing too well, I don't think the Koreans would necessarily jump to racism as the reason why some students are not doing as well. It's actually easier than tackling the real problem, which is getting some students up to scratch and getting them and investing in them as students and investing in the education to get them up to the standard that they need to be. But instead, it's easier to just dumb everything down and hurt their reputation in the process.
Yeah, well, I don't know. What's the reaction being to this move? I mean, I find it hard to believe that Oxford and Cambridge would trash the reputation so quickly.
I mean, it's been one of mainly bewilderment. Obviously, there's been offense caused. Many people are saying, are you trying to just, is this your underhanded way of saying non-white students are dumb? But it's mainly just bewilderment because clearly anyone with a pair of brain cells knows that this is not going to solve anything and it's just going to hurt Oxford and Cambridge in the long run.
Well, I don't know. I think the world is now really turning its back on this kind of nonsense. Esther Krakue, thank you so much indeed for your time. Really appreciate it.